So hello everyone, in this video we will discuss about why we don't use dynamic values while declaring arrays. So what I mean by dynamic values, in the previous video I hope that you guys remember, I said that we don't declare arrays while writing this thing, a variable size, where we don't know what the size of the array will be. Okay, we don't know what will be the size or what will be the variable. Okay, we don't know what the value of the n is. Why would we don't do it? Okay, but in case of some compilers, like if I show you, like if I do a thing, like if I create a int n, okay, and not n, what I can do, I can do a int n, and I can input the value, like maybe I can do cin, and I can take the input of the value, and on base of that value I can create an array. Okay, I can create the array. So if I run the program, you can see, okay, I forget the semicolon there. If I run the program, you can see there is no errors. Okay, there are no errors on the program. Then what's the problem? Why are you saying us to not use this kind of dynamic arrays? So what's the problem? Why we can't use this, or we can't use, like we can declare a variable and we can't take input of that, and we can't use this? So to understand this thing, what's the problem? You need to first understand a little bit about memory. Okay, I know, I think you guys know about that concept. Like in the case of memory or RAM, what happens? Like the memories are kind of a contiguous kind of memories. Okay, maybe like if I am doing a high means oversimplified diagram of a RAM, okay, or of our memory. Just imagine if this is our memory. Okay, if this is our memory and these are our memory blocks. Now, what will happen if we declare a variable like maybe a, okay, an integer a? What will happen with it if I declare a variable integer a? So, what will happen? What will happen? Like a memory block here will be reserved for our variable a. Okay, I think it's clear. A memory block of a will be reserved here. Now, if I declare a variable, okay, not a variable. If I declare an array, okay, of maybe suppose a size of 3, then what will happen? A 3 size memory block will be allocated here. Now, the thing I want to focus you, like I want to bring your attention in, is that when this memory got allocated, actually this memory got allocated during the compile time. Okay, compile time. I think you guys are already means familiar with this concept, or you guys know about this, that in the case of our program, what will happen? We write the code. Okay, we write the code. That code got compiled by our compiler. Okay, and then it got executed. Okay, now what's happened here? When we are writing the code, okay, now this memory which will be allocated here, the code got first compiled. Okay, when the code got compiled, the size of a variable, like how much size will be allocated, the memory address is not yet defined, but the size of that, like if I am saying like an array of 3 size, so 3 into 4, it will be 12. Okay, so the 12 size needs to be allocated here. Okay, so this thing got predefined previously. Now what happened in the runtime, in after this thing, what the execution time comes, or the runtime? Okay, in the runtime, this memory got distributed. Okay, so suppose if there is an if there is another free space, maybe one variable can create here, one variable can be created here. Okay, so this thing got happened. Okay, now what's the problem? Like what happens if we create a dynamic size array? Okay, what happens? Suppose in our RAM, so let me just draw you. Just imagine that it is a small portion of our RAM. Okay, there are some garbage values. Okay, there is a variable, and here is a variable. Okay, now what happens? Suppose you declared a array. Okay, int array, and you declare it with a n variable size. So what happens during the compile time? Your compiler imagines, like if he declares a variable n. Okay, so your compiler imagines that you may be wanting a array size of 100. or maybe array size of 1000. Now this thing, like how much number the compiler will imagine, like how much long array you need, that is completely depend on the compiler. Okay, you can't do anything on that. So the compiler can imagine you need array of 100, a compiler can imagine you need array length of 1000, or it may imagine you need array length of 10 also. Okay, so it is variable, it is variable. So if you are not defining here, so what compiler will do, compiler will create a array, like previously it will create an array of a length, like it's not length, it's not defined anything, so it will create a array of any length, like whatever the memories allocate space is available here, it will, based on that, it will create a memory here. Now what will happen when you will put a very value here, maybe if you put a value of, like for example 3, okay, or 4, okay, 4, then what will happen, 0 1 2 3 and 4. Okay, not 4, up to 0 1 2 and 3. Why 3? Because n minus 1, remember we have indexes up to n minus 1, so it is 4, so we will have index minus 4 minus 1, it will be 3. Okay, so 0 to 3. So this part will be used by you, but this part which is here, so this will be a empty part of array, so you will be using this part of the array, but this memory will be empty. But remember, this memory will be allocated to you. Okay, this memory will be allocated to you. Now what if, so this is a case where, like you show, I just ran the program here, like you can see that this, in this case, so there is no errors. Okay, so the program will run smoothly. But what will happen, suppose the compiler creates an array like this. Okay, it will create a predefined array, so there is no restriction. Okay, now if you just declare an array like that, and maybe your user give an input of maybe a 15. Okay, so what will happen, 0 1 2 3 4 5. Now what will happen in case of 15, you should have an array of from 0 to 14. Okay, so 0 to 14 indexes, you should have an array of up to that. But what is happening here, you have an array which is predefined for you that have only indexes up to 5, so you can't create an array of this size. Okay, if you can't create an array of this size, so what will happen, your array will start, you will, maybe your user just give a number of 15. Okay, but you can't create the array, so your compiler will give you a error. Okay, and that error will be occur on the runtime. So that's the problem. Okay, what happens in the compile time, based on the memory, your compiler give you a space. Okay, the which will be predefined. But in the runtime, what happens, the actual memory is allocated here, and this is, suppose I say there were 5. Okay, or maybe you just created a memory, your compiler created a memory array of 3. Okay, and if it give you this array present here, and suppose now you are demanding a size of 5, can it give you, like, see, here is a variable maybe named a and maybe named b, and here is your array maybe named arr. Now you are demanding a 5 spaced array, can it give you, like, just imagine this space is already blocked now, it can't create a space here, it can't create a space here, so it can't increase the space, or it can't do that. Now if your compiler by your fortune take a array which is bigger than the your user input, maybe 100, and the compiler take a like created an array of 100, and your user give a input of 10, so on that case your program will run, no problems there. But in the case where it is contradictory, maybe your compiler created an array of 10 size, okay, but your user give a input of 50, on that case you can't do anything. So on that case your compiler will give you an error. Okay, so to avoid that, we suggest, what we suggest, that create a array. Okay, create a array of a fixed size. Now if you ask me, like, dude, we don't know how long the array will be, so no problem now, you can create a big size array. Maybe if you give a 1000 size, and you don't know how long you need the array, like how long array you need, maybe you need a 100 array, 100 sized array, maybe you need a 500 size array, you don't need how much long the array you need. Okay, on that case you can just create a big array. Now you can create a 1000 size array. Yeah, obviously there will be, like, if just you need 50 500 like length array, and you are creating array of 1000, you are just wasting a 50% of array space, but we are not considering, but we are not concerned about that. Okay, we are not concerned, presently concerned about that space storage, but at least your code will run, your code won't give you a error while running the code. Okay, your program won't crash. So that's more important. In this case, we just, for this thing only, it is always suggested and recommended. So obviously, and always create an array which is fixed size. Okay, which have a fixed size. Now you will ask me, sir, now then what is the problem? Why when we are creating, like if we are giving it in n and 10, and we are creating an array of maybe n size, so what's the problem? The problem is, dude, here, like when you are doing this in the compile time, okay, this space is already defined, the space is already defined first. Okay, and after that this value is given. So if this value is also get exceeded by the space which is given here, on that case also you will have an error. Okay, so it is always, and always just remember this thing, it is always recommended, just create a not create a fixed size array, not a dynamic size array. Okay, so we will create a fixed size array and we won't create a dynamic size array. I think it's just clear the concept, and I think you guys understand the point. And yeah, this is it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next video. And one more thing, if you guys are watching up to this long video, then please do subscribe the channel and like the video. And if you don't know, we are just going with a playlist of which concerned related to array, and we will be solving lots of problem down the line. And we done discussed about the array theory, and we also did some hands-on means experience with the array. Now if you guys don't check those videos, so please do check those videos. The link of this playlist will be on the I button. And thank you.